Hi friends, this is Caitlin and I'm so excited to share with you today my first time trying out using layering stencils. When I saw the newest release from Honeybee Stamps, I instantly fell in love, not only with the color palette of the beautiful modern spring papers, which are what I'm showing right now, but also with this beautiful stamp set. This is the floral vase and it also has dies that coordinate with it as well as these layering stencils. And I have been getting so into ink blending lately that I wanted to change it up and see how it worked out. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button below for me. This way you never miss any of the cool card inspiration I have coming to you weekly. It's really fun to be part of our crafty family and I have lots to fill you guys in on today. I started by picking out some of my Distress Ink mini cubes in this pastel floral kind of color scheme so that it would coordinate with that pattern paper. I wasn't exactly sure what colors I would be using from the pattern paper pack, so I just made sure that everything kind of went together in general, and I figured I would figure it out at the end, which I did. Then it was time to stamp out my images, so I picked the main large floral vase piece as well as the bigger of the two floral clusters. These are awesome because they layer and they line up. So you could do the single layer, you could do 2 or 3, you could make this super dimensional if you wanted to. I think that these are absolutely beautiful. The only thing is, because this was my first time using the stamp, I don't think that I conditioned it enough and I did have to stamp about 3 or 4 times, which wasn't a problem and it worked really well, but I think that I didn't let my ink on 3 ink dry long enough, and when I started to ink blend I did feel like a little bit of that black color bled into my other colors. So if I could do this over again, I would definitely give that a little bit of time to sit on the side and dry. So then I pulled out my Wendy Vecchi Make Art station, which I do not get to use as much as I would love to, and this is the perfect thing for these stencils because I just used a little bit of washi tape to tape down my panel, and then those magnets held each of those stencils in place and it was easy to move them around. I would also like to point out I am using one of my Tacky tiles from the stamp market, which are absolutely amazing. This is the one that's fit specifically for those mini distress cubes and they are perfect. It has a little bit of sticky on the back, you stick it down onto your surface, you use it and it holds your ink in place while you're blending, and then when you're done you peel it right off of your surface and tuck it away. I thought this was so perfect for this. Between these two tools, this whole process was seamless. So you can see here I'm lining up my floral and leaf images on the vase and then shifting over to the smaller cluster and blending with using the same colors. You don't have to do both layers if you're going to be covering one up with the other, but because I was going to be using foam tape, I decided that I was going to do both layers the exact same, and that way if you could see under the smaller cluster, it wouldn't matter. So I am going in with these small blending brushes from Simon Says Stamp and my inks, and I am just blending all the way around any of the areas that are open. I decided to use only one shade of green. I went over it a little bit heavier for this area that's showing the leaves and the stems. And then when I use the bigger stencil or the stencil that has more openings that gets all of the other leaves, I use the same color, I just do it with a bit of a lighter hand. And that way you get some variation, but you could absolutely use multiple shades on this. That's why I think that a set like this is so amazing. Having those stencils and having multiple stencils where there's like, you know, a couple there for the leaves, a couple different ones for the flowers instead of just one that does everything. You can make this a full rainbow if you wanted to, and it would be absolutely stunning. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up that I am sharing this with you on a Monday because I have some very fun stuff coming up this week and I will not have a normal Friday video out. So on Friday, I will be joining Miss Mary Gunn Fun over on the Craft Roulette channel on YouTube, and I will be facing the wheel to do a craft challenge. If you haven't checked out Craft Roulette before, you have to go over there. She has all of the older episodes up and it's so much fun and super inspiring. I've been practicing the last couple weeks to get myself ready, and I do feel pretty prepared. So if you want to come and hang out with me and Miss Mary on Friday, that would be amazing. I can use all the support I can get. And then I will also be having a new video out for you on Saturday, sharing with you the newest spring release from Sweet November Stamps. It's a clear stamp release, and it has so many beautiful new sets, and I will be making a card, and I will also be giving away 2 stamp sets. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that you check out that video on Saturday and get pumped, because this is going to be a very fun week for me over here on YouTube. So back to the card really quick. I am using a very, very, very small precision blending brush. These are super fun. They're super tiny, and I'm just taking some of the darker pink color and using it to shade the inside on the upper part of those petals. And I just think that this is absolutely so fun. You could probably do the same thing with like a Q-tip too, if you don't have a small brush like this. But I just think, you know, anything to give it even more dimension and more interest is fun, and why not try it out? I hadn't used that brush before, but it's amazing, and I love the result that I got from this. When I was done, my cleanup was an absolute breeze between my make art station and just peeling up my little tacky tile. So that was nice and easy. And then it was time to die cut my images. You can see on that smaller cluster, when I was ink blending, I got some of that ink over on the right hand side where the other flowers would be from the full size one. If I could do this over, or the next time I use these, which I definitely will be using them again, I would definitely cover up those areas with a little post-it or something. What I ended up doing, because there was ink on that white outline, is I just trimmed out that right side, and I think it is kind of a cool look, because then it looks seamless on one side, but you have the border on the other, which adds kind of a different type of dimension. So if that happens to you, there's definitely an easy fix for it. You could definitely fussy cut the whole way around, but I found that even just doing that one side worked completely. So this set comes with this really cute little floral pick and the 2 different size cards for you to put your sentiment. I really wanted to use this, but once I saw how everything looked all together, I decided to change it up and actually put my sentiment on the bottom part. That just isn't because I don't love the pick and that sentiment set. I think it's cute, and I love the idea that you're sending a forever bouquet to somebody, right? They can keep their card forever, where normal flowers wouldn't be around that long. But for the layout that I was looking for, having it up at the top just wasn't working for me today. So I saved that, and I will use it again a different time. So I am trimming down this kind of distressed gray and white wood grain from that Modern Spring paper pad. And I am trimming 1 inch from each direction, as if it were an A2. So it's 4.5 by 3.25. That way I have a nice large border, and you can see that floral vase fits perfectly in there. So then I went back to my pad, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to use this lighter peachy color, which I do think looks pretty, but because I used so much of that velvet distress ink, I think that the peachy, like more coral, this tone was really pretty, and I really loved the kind of rainbow shape or U-shaped designs that were on this pattern, specifically tone on tone. So I trimmed that down to be my A2 size panel, and with the gray trimmed down as much as it was, you get a really nice chunky border on there, and I just love this. I love this combo. And I thought that this would be a really nice way to tie in that coral color, would be by making a separate sentiment. And so I grabbed this other honeybee stamps set that I have that is retired, but I love it. I'll tag it, I'll put the name at least down below so you can check to see if you already have it in your stash. But I grabbed the Thinking of You, and I decided to ink that up in the, what is it, Spun Sugar? Yeah, nope, Tattered Rose. I stamped it out in the Tattered Rose ink a couple times so that way it would be dark enough that you could read it. And I just used a little bit of washi tape to hold it there because my magnet was just a little bit too big and in the way. So I think that Tattered Rose matches beautifully with this background panel that we created, and I love how the sentiment looks just tucked to the side and kind of shifting my floral vase over so that some of the leaves overlap off of the wood grain and onto that peachy background. I think that just changing up your normal kind of setup instead of everything being centered all the time, it's fun to just, not that it's really getting crazy, but get a little crazy and, shift something to one side or the other, or do maybe not what your first instinct is. It's fun to kind of play around and try out some different layouts that maybe are your go-to. As this project wraps up, I just want to take a second to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget that there won't be a normal Friday video this week on March 4th because I will be hanging out with Mary Gunn over on Craft Roulette, and I would absolutely love it if you wanted to stop by and check it out. So I will make sure to put a link to her channel and our video over in the description box for you below. Also, make sure that you keep an eye out for the Sweet November Stamps newest release coming out on Saturday, March 5th. And definitely keep an eye out over here for that new video on Saturday because you are not going to want to miss this really great giveaway and these really gorgeous sets. I am so grateful that you came to hang out with me today. I hope that you have an amazing week, and as always, happy crafting.